Hello and welcome to the Love Bag Show. My name is Charity Godons, and today we are going to be talking about culture and Christianity. Joining me in studio to take us through that are two wonderful gentlemen. We have Mr. John Nganga and Mr. Peter Karanja. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. Maybe we can start off by you introducing yourselves.
My name is John Nganga. If you ask me who are you, one of the things I say, I'm a writer. I've written 9 books so far. One of the books I've written is popular with young people. It's called Finding a Life Partner. I assure young people that God has already somebody for them, or they need to consult God, and God will show them who to marry. I've also written a book helping young people because my main target group is young people, telling them how they can become men and women of influence. And I call it a leader source of influence. How can you become somebody who impacts your generation? I want young people not to be overwhelmed by the values of the times, modernity, but to have biblical values percolate into whichever sphere of influence God gives them. The third book I've written is called The Secret of Contentment. Again, I want young people to know you can have 70, 80, 90, 100 years of contentment. And it will happen whether you go through difficult times, because those 100 years you have gone through difficult times, joyful times, but at no time will you not have contentment. But then the question is, what is the secret that gives you contentment irrespective of what you are going through? Then I've written another one, specifically aiming at helping young people to understand that you don't serve the Lord just when you become a pastor. You serve the Lord when you do God's calling. And not all of us are called to be church pastors. In fact, only a minority are church pastors. Others have a similar call as a pastor, but in industry, to be an engineer, to be a teacher, and God expects you to serve Him. So I call my book, The Christian Professional Leading the Marketplace. How can you serve the Lord outside the church ground or the church constraints? And then I have another one, which for Africa is a major requirement. It's a book on corruption. It's my biggest book in size, because corruption is a huge subject. I call it integrity, the litmus test of good leadership. I'm trying to say in this book, telling young people, please understand, you can become famous because of corruption, but in the end you become infamous as people discover who you truly are. How much better to have a life of integrity, and God will still help you to become what He wants you to become, even if you follow through the straight and the narrow. And then the next book, I call it The Leader as a Steward. One of the things I want especially young people to know is that anything we have is actually a gift from God. Paul asked a very good question. He says, what do you have you are not given? And the rhetorical answer is, nothing. Everything you have is a gift from God. Are you handsome? It's a gift from God. Are you beautiful? It's a gift from God. Do you have education? It's a gift of God. Question: if it's God's gift, how are you using the gift to honor God? And that's what I'm discussing in this topic of stewardship. And then, years gone by, 20 years ago, I wrote a book on a character study of King David. And I call it Leadership King David Style. It's actually a Bible exposition on the book of 2 Samuel. Just studying King David. I regard him as one of the best political leaders the world has ever had. In fact, you go right up to the New Testament, and they always talk about King David. What lessons can today's leaders among the youth or in the nation follow that are drawn from King David? And then one more is called Friendship. It's actually my first book. It was a result of a series of talks I gave on VOK more than maybe 25 years ago, and I gave a series on a program that those days used to be called "You As Faithfully," on how we can have good relationship, not about marriage or boy-girlfriend, but how can we have better relationships with one another. Nobody will make impact the way God would like us to make impact wherever we are if we don't know how to have interpersonal relationships that are effective. That is John Nganga.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Mr. Peter Karanja, who is Peter Karanja?
Now, Peter Karanja has also written a book, a Christian book. Unfortunately, I didn't come with a copy, but I've got a flyer which talks about it. It's called Millions of People Missing, and the origin of this title is, it starts with the day Jesus comes, takes away the believers, so we shall be during the rapture, so we shall be missing from the earth, but present in heaven. So we shall be missing from here, but in a better place. And then it takes us through the book of Revelation from that moment until the last day. So in this book, you will read about the tribulation period, how it starts, how it goes. You read about the beast, who will be a one world leader, who will persecute the world like never before, and he will be assisted by what the Bible calls the false prophet, who will be working with him to do signs and wonders which are satanic. The two of them will be satanic, and them together with the devil, they will form what is called the unholy trinity, and they will deceive the world, and the beast will deceive the world that he is God, and the people will be forced to worship him, and through worshiping him, the devil will receive the glory which has been waiting for. And during the tribulation period, the beast will be the one world leader. Will also introduce what is called the mark of the beast, which the Bible says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, that you will not be able to buy or sell except with that mark. And it demonstrates what, from technological point of view, what the mark is most likely to be. But the tragedy is the Bible says whoever takes the mark of the beast or worships him will end up in the lake of hell. There will be no salvation for such a person. And it goes through to demonstrate how, in the process of persecuting Christians and the Jews, Christ himself will confront this man during the great battle of the Armageddon, where Christ will personally now come and set his feet on top of Mount of Olives, and it will split into two. And the Bible says, you get hold of the beast and the false prophet, who will be there in the battlefield, leading the battle in Jerusalem, and throw the two of them into the lake of fire alive. That's what the book of Revelation says. And then after that, the Bible demonstrates how Christ will reign in this world physically for the next millennium. Yes. And then it goes through to until the last day where there will be the judgment day. So that's what the book is all about.
Wonderful.
Yes.
You're really blessed men of God, and I'm so honored to have you today in studio. We are talking about culture and Christianity. Let me start off by asking you, are all African traditions unbiblical?
The first thing we need to say when we discuss Christianity and culture is to be able to say that culture is part of every group of people. So culture are values and beliefs behind the behavior of a people. And therefore, you cannot be a group of people without a culture. Therefore, when you discuss Christianity and culture, it needs to be understood it's not possible to have Christianity without culture. So, we start by saying, any group of people you find have three sources for their values and beliefs. Number one, because God is a creator, no group of people so far has been found which doesn't have values and beliefs that come from Jehovah. Because he created all tribes, all groups of people. So you cannot come to a group of people, even if they have never heard about Jesus Christ, you will discover some of the principles they follow are biblical principles, despite never having heard them. Number two, every group of people, the devil is at work. Because after the fall of man, the devil operates throughout the earth. So you will never find a group of people who do not have certain behaviors and values whose source is Satan himself, and still part of their culture. But I dare say there is a third possibility, where some certain things you do are not based on beliefs. It's based of preferences, ways of doing things. Like the Maasai may want to stand up with one leg on top of the other. I don't think you start saying whether it's from God or from the devil. That's a way of standing for the Maasai. And every group of people will have a that behavior, that section of their behavior that is drawn from their humanness. In other words, it's just a preference by themselves.
Okay.
So when we now talk about Christianity and culture, we are saying among the African peoples, the Luos, the Kalenjin, when you go to that group, the Christian need to be aware that in their traditional culture, there will be certain behaviors and beliefs that are not consistent with the scriptures. And you cannot claim to be a Christian and continue with them. But there will be other traditional beliefs that are in line with the Bible. And there's nothing wrong with them. Do not destroy your good customs in order to copy the missionary's custom. Missionary is not sent to a people to change them to his tribe. He is sent there to direct them to God. So missionaries should not be trying to convert people to stop their culture to follow where they come from. Like the white man who came. We don't have to be copying the white man. Remember, the white man's culture also has demonic sources. So we need to be very careful that we are aware that every group of people have good traditions which Christianity does not condemn. And then the third one is some ways of doing things. And we do not have to stop ours, to follow the foreign one. But our very interest in this program is those aspects of our culture that a Christian would have to drop.
Before Mr. Karanja adds something onto that, you've just said that it is not possible to have Christianity without culture. So is it possible to have culture without Christianity?
Yes, because if you go to a people that have not had Christianity, they still have culture. Because culture, I said, is a way, some assumed way of doing things. In other words, when something is called culture, people don't debate it. They assume this is the way we do things. And when they do it, for example, in our culture, most African peoples, they don't eat dogs. And there's no debate, thou shalt not eat a dog. Nobody gives the command, but we don't believe dogs are for eating. So that's a culture. You go to Korea, if they really love you as a visitor, they'll make a dog, they'll kill a dog for you. That's a culture issue. So, it is possible to have culture even before Christianity comes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Karanja, you have something you'd like to add?
Yes, it's true that we have different cultures. As a matter of fact, even Christianity itself, it is a culture, because when you become a Christian, the Bible says you become a citizen of heaven. So you become a community of believers, not just in your own country, not just in your own church, but all over the world. And therefore, Christianity itself, it also comes with a culture, but which is consistent with what the scriptures say. For example, like Christians, they love to pray, they love to worship, they love to witness, they love going to church, and they love doing good things. They believe in loving your neighbor as you love yourself, because that is what Christ commanded. So it is a culture, but it is a culture that is biblical, that is consistent with the Word of God. Yes.
Yeah, that brings me to my second question, Mr. Karanja. Maybe you can start by answering this. What criteria does one use to identify the acceptable and the unacceptable traditions?
Yes, one thing, as I have said, Christianity itself gets you into a community where you have a specific culture, as I have just said. And therefore, this culture of beliefs and traditions, they have to be consistent with what the Bible says. That is the first thing. So when you have a culture in your tribe, in your community, the way to decide whether it is should be Christian is to use the Bible as the mirror. What does the Bible say about that particular culture? If it is counter to the Bible, then you have to drop it, as my friend Mr. John Nganga says. Yeah? But if it is consistent with the Bible, then you keep it. Like, for example, among the Kikuyus, we believe in the children should respect their peers, their superiors, even if they are not their parents, which is also consistent with the Bible. Yeah? But there are also some cultures among the various tribes which are actually not consistent with the Bible. And that is actually our main focus today.
Okay. Mr. John, you have something?
Yes, to me this is the most important question, because we have talked about traditional culture. Today, culture is still evolving. There are cultures among every group of people, and they have nothing to do with how 100 years ago the African lived. We have evolved new cultures. So this question is not just a question of traditional culture. It's any culture, modernity, post-Christian era. All those must be tested against the following 4 criteria. Criteria number 1, you need to find out whether the behavior or the custom is on the basis of a belief. If it's a belief, is it a belief in the Bible? If it's not a belief in the Bible, obviously you can't do it. For example, there is something that the Kikuyus do that is called Kamweredo. Kamweredo is a Kikuyu idea that is drawn from a belief system that girls must be sold. You must get dowry. For a proper marriage to happen, if you want your marriage to be blessed, you must pay dowry. After you pay dowry, it now gives you the right. After you get children, you also can send yours. You can get dowry. However, if you never gave dowry to your father-in-law, if you dare receive dowry, you get a curse. Surely a curse is nothing to do with, it's not just a custom, it's a belief. So you have to ask yourself, is that belief from the Bible? I go throughout the Bible, nowhere is there a statement that if you don't pay dowry, your marriage will not be blessed. Or if you did not pay dowry, you cannot receive dowry. So that belief system, and wherever the curse will not come from Jehovah. It will come from ancestral spirits, because they are the ones that stated that in the culture of tradition of the Kikuyus. Therefore, that comes from Ngoma, the Kikuyus will call it, or the spirits of the dead. Once you become a Christian, you can't believe something like that. You therefore cannot pay dowry in order to avoid a curse. Because if you do, it means you don't have the biblical beliefs. You have these other beliefs. So the first check on any custom is whether it involves belief. Let me give an example. The Kikuyus eat a food called mokimo. Some hotels mistake it and call it the irio, but that's the wrong name. Mokimo means getting food together and matching it into a nice paste. Yeah. Other tribes wonder, surely, you get good food, bad food, you match it together. What's wrong with you? But the Kikuyus love it. It's their culture. It's their custom. Have you ever heard anybody tell you, if you don't eat mokimo, you'll be cursed? Or if you don't eat mokimo, you'll be blessed? Never. Mokimo is just one of the foods, and it's a preference. There is no belief system behind mokimo. You don't eat mokimo to get a blessing, or you don't eat mokimo to avoid a curse. Therefore, mokimo has no belief system. And because they are not belief system, it's the kind of custom we are saying, it's your preference. If you want to drop it, drop it. If you want to go on with it, because there is no belief system. So the first check is simply, is there a belief behind the custom.
Ah, lovely, lovely. I hope you are really learning from my two guests in studio today. We are talking about culture and Christianity. We're going to go on a short commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to be looking at other things related to culture and Christianity. So keep it Champions TV.